So I'm making this video again because over the weekend I spent a lot of time looking more at these words, heavenly on and earthly on, and the Lord showed me some things where I need to make some corrections. Well, let me start again by saying that these profound concepts have gotten lost in translation because the translators have ignored the prepositional elements in these words. Where you see the Devar translation puts the little on here because this is a compound from the preposition epi and then uranios. So uranios defines heaven, where this is an adjective. But the epi governs a superposition of heaven, where they've translated it just heavenly here. Where there's other words that do not contain the preposition which define heavenly. Here's the adjective uranios without the preposition, which is also an adjective from G3770, which they've translated the same. So the point being is that the superposition is ignored and it goes unnoticed to the average Bible reader who is using the King James or any other translation because they don't distinguish. So here the Devar distinguishes from that adjective uranios, which is different from epuranios with the on preposition. And as it goes for the word earth, it's not found in the adjective form except with the preposition epi. So here's the noun earth, gay, earth, earthland, where epigaios is the adjective compound from epi and gay, which is earthly on, found in only 6 occurrences here. So the concept of earthly on and heavenly on is mind-blowingly profound, which I've discovered over the past few days. Where let's come back to 1 Corinthians 15:40, where this is probably going to take several parts to go over all of this. So first of all, understand that what Paul is explaining here concerns the resurrection. Okay? Thus also is the resurrection, where when we back up, but someone will say, how do the died ones wake up? But in what kind of body do they come? So the context of heavenly on bodies and earthly on bodies is the resurrected bodies in the resurrection, where the heavenly on bodies are those who will come into the wedding feast at eventide, and then those who come into the resurrection subsequent of John 5:28 and 29 will have earthly on bodies in the resurrection. So the heavenly on bodies and the earthly on bodies in the resurrection all begins according to the terms to uphead the all in Christ, Ephesians 1:10, in relationship to the watch time parables. So the terms to uphead are eventide to midnight, which midnight is the so-called rapture, when 5 virgins enter the wedding feasts, and then the door is shut. So, when Paul says those who are upon the heavens and those who are upon the earthland, this corresponds to the heavenly on bodies who come into the wedding feasts at eventide, which has disappeared in Luke 12:38, which is the out-resurrection, the up-loosening of Luke 12:36, which I've already made videos talking about all that, where those who are upon the earthland are earthly on bodies before they enter the wedding feasts at midnight, where then when they enter the wedding feasts and the door is shut, they have heavenly on bodies. The mystery here, according to the upheading of the all, is all heavenly on context, where if we back up, we see the adjective here. heavenlies on in Christ, that he outchose us before the downcast of the cosmos, etc., etc., where actually this adjective is found many times in Ephesians. In Ephesians 1:20, to give us seat at his right hand in the heavenlies on includes everybody who comes in at midnight. In Ephesians 2:6, and awakened us together and let us have seat together in the heavenlies on in Christ includes all of the virgins who give themselves standby as pure virgin to Christ, who enter at midnight here. So understand that the context of heavenlies on is not just limited to those who come in at the out-resurrection or first order of the wedding entering. It also includes those at midnight. Now, those who come in last, they'll also have earthly on bodies in the third watch time, but when they enter the regency prepared not before the downcast, but from Matthew 25:34, they allot the regency having been prepared as my least brothers here. So this is not a heavenly on regency or calling, but it is the heaven. It is the heavens. The blissful of the Beatitudes is the context of the third watch timers who come into the allotment prepared from the downcast, Matthew 25:34. They allot the earth land, but they are sons of God. Theirs is the regency of the heavens, not heavenly on. So understand, the heavenly on gift, Hebrews 6:4, is limited to the upheading portion prepared before the downcast. So Ephesians 1:10, to uphead the all according to the terms, according to a mystery that was secreted in relationship to the adjective back here, heavenlies in Christ, corresponds with those upon the heavens who are heavenly on bodies of the out resurrection, and then the earthly on bodies who have to prepare their lamps when they're awakened in the resurrection, so that when they are prepared to come in at midnight, they allot the heavenly on regency, which we have then seat to judge over the third watch time. Hence 2 Timothy 4:18, who will save into his heavenly on regency, which is a greater glory of through carrying glory than those who are locked out here, who still allot the regency, but it's not the superposition to have seat on thrones to judge in the third watch time. Again, Ephesians 1:20, Ephesians 2:6, where in Hebrews 8:5 we see the mention of Moses according to the shadow of the heavenlies on. So this is the shadow of the heavenlies on, right here. Hebrews 12:22 is the heavenlies on of Ephesians 1:10, those in the heavens, and verse 23 are those upon the earthland who are earthly on, recorded prior to entering the wedding at midnight. Rise first of 1 Thessalonians 4:16 is the heavenly on at eventide, and then this is the earthly on until they enter the clouds at midnight.